Hi everyone, Shaun here. Welcome to this edition of the Take Charge of Change podcast. In this edition of the podcast, we're going to continue with our theme on stress and stress reduction in the workplace and how to become more resilient and not allow stress to overcome you professionally. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about a really great assessment tool so you have a very clear idea as to the level of stress that you're currently under. You'll enjoy this edition of the Take Charge of Change podcast. Dealing with stress effectively in the workplace context is really important. And the material I'm covering off today is from Chapter 1 of the Resilient Professional ebook. If you haven't already downloaded the book, I'd encourage you to go to the website, takechargeofchange.com, and it's a complimentary copy. You can just get your copy from the website. And in the first chapter, we have a number of assessment tools to help people get clear and more objective and honest with themselves about various aspects of their professional resilience. So we take a look at emotional, relational, psychological, physical resilience. And one of the tools in the chapter is the Holmes and Raw Stress Scale. And in there, we have the scale, and it's an interesting scale. It takes a look at some of the major life events that we go through, and they're both positive and negative events. And each of the events have a point system attached to them. And I'll just go through and just read out some of the events that are listed. So some of the top events in terms of the amount of stress that they put us under would include the death of a spouse, divorce, marital separation, jail term, death of a close family member, injury, fired at work, marital reconciliation, retirement, change in the health of a family member, pregnancy, sexual difficulties, business adjustments, change in financial state, and the list goes on. So each of these things have a point score beside them. And so the idea is to go through the scale and highlight each of the events that have taken place in your life, total up the scores, and that's going to give you an idea as to whether you need to be a little bit mindful around the amount of stress that you're under. So you might not be overly conscious of it, and that's where health issues can sneak up on us and get the better of us because we're just not paying attention to the stresses in our life. So if your score is 300 plus, you have a high or very high risk of becoming ill in the near future. If your score is between 150 and 299, you have a moderate to high chance of becoming ill in the near future. And if it's under 150, you have only a low to moderate chance of becoming ill in the future. So it's a good assessment tool. I'd encourage you to do it. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the podcast. If you manage teams and you want to get really proactive and engaged in helping your staff to become resilient professionally so they're more effective on the job and at home as well, then reach out to us. We'd love to start a conversation about designing customized programs for your teams. So all the best as you pursue professional and personal resilience.